Welcome to NextLabs Expert Q&A Series. This series was designed to inform you of relevant cybersecurity topics via expert knowledge.
Welcome back to the NextLabs Cybersecurity Expert Series. In this episode, we have Giles Dalton, Operations Director at Prolinx Limited, covering using dynamic authorizations and zero trust in controlled environments. Now, Giles will introduce himself before we move into the questions.
Hello, my name is Giles Dalton. I'm the Operations Director at Prolinx, a UK company that delivers secure cloud services, including Platform as a Service.
Thank you for your introduction, Giles. Question 1. What are the limitations and risks of traditional techniques for protecting controlled data?
Traditional perimeter security is all about trying to establish a wall around the infrastructure. For example, firewalls and other security devices like IDS and SIEM systems are put in place to limit who and what can get into and out of a company's systems and infrastructure. Once the perimeter is breached, an attacker can do as they wish. A wall does not do much to prevent attacks from the inside either, especially if the SIEM or IDS are compromised. In addition, trying to monitor applications and user behavior that might reveal breaches is time-consuming and complicated. Furthermore, much processing is moving to the cloud, and naturally, cloud computing, cloud storage, cloud services bring opportunities for exploitation. Given that much of the infrastructure is now outside the wall, and even if the wall is extended, that is difficult to secure. So, in-depth security is very difficult to achieve with a traditional perimeter security design. Zero trust is based upon the idea that each and every access to a system component is verified to come from a trusted user and/or device. So, zero trust assumes that no user, device or resource is trusted until it is verified. And that trust is continually verified with every request to access the resource, which of course is very different to the walled garden type approach. There is no one user, device or resource trusted until they are validated and continually revalidated as they go about their work. So in conjunction with strong identity management, this provides the enhancement of trust, which is lacking in traditional mechanisms and methods to effectively control access to resources.
Great insights, thank you. Question 2. What does the conjunction of dynamic authorization and zero trust bring?
So what is the best approach to address the challenges of securing one's data effectively? A combination of dynamic authorization and zero trust suggests a solution to this problem. Today, typically authorization is driven by role-based access control, where users are grouped together under roles. So there might be finance or engineering or developer roles. Those roles are then assigned permissions to applications or services or data. However, this is a static approach. It seems to be quite simple, but as the number of applications, environments, systems, combination of legacy cloud and hybrid services evolve, then the number of roles necessary to control access effectively grows and becomes somewhat uncontrollable. There are new approaches to address this complex and largely static approach to access control. NIST is recommending dynamic authorization and attribute-based access control as the modern authorization method to augment, extend, or replace role-based access control. A user will be given attributes that describe, for instance, role, location, security clearance, and department. Applications and data will be assigned attributes perhaps describing owning department, hours of access, security clearance needed for access, and so on. A policy is developed that describes what combination of user and object attributes must exist before access is granted. Only if the policy is satisfied is access granted. So, for example, only if the user is in finance, attempting access between 9 and 5 from a corporate device, can they access the HR file. This gives a much more granular and much easier to manage mechanism to control user access. Access is granted only when the relevant policy is satisfied each and every time the user attempts to access information or resources. Changes to policy are applied nearly instantaneously. This is a tremendously powerful mechanism which is much better placed to scale and control to a very fine-grained level access into modern infrastructure.
Thank you for your answer, Giles. Question 3. Which standards and references can be applied?
Several standards and references apply to attribute-based access control, or ABAC. NIST have developed a number of these, for example, publications 800-207, SP 1800-3, and 800-162, which fully describe both the logic of ABAC and provide a physical reference implementation using a variety of Tier 1 products. In addition, the CISA Zero Trust Maturity Model is an excellent and interesting reference to this whole subject area.
Thank you, Giles. Now on to our last question. Are those standards replacing traditional roles and controls?
So in terms of implementation and adoption, we're finding that in the areas we work in, more and more of our clients are requesting a zero trust model underpinned by dynamic authorization, all built on a zero trust architecture. We've done a lot of work with these customers to demonstrate and deploy sophisticated solutions which provide the sort of facilities described earlier. In particular, these controls provide the kinds of assurances that companies are looking for to protect their intellectual property, particularly when working on multiple projects, where those projects collaborate with other teams from other companies, some of whom, of course, may be competitors in a different setting. This fine-grained dynamic authorization and control mechanism gives the assurance that is necessary to support working in a much more secure, collaborative, compliant, and yet easier to manage environment. For companies working in a security-conscious, collaborative setting, particularly where protection of IP error is vital, this is the future.
Thanks for your insights, Giles, and thank you for participating in this episode. Thank you for watching this installment of the NextLabs Cybersecurity Expert Series. Stay tuned for our next episode on limitations of traditional authorizations in the SAP space with Yana and Nurmi.